We are so grateful that you are here. We have knocked that off. And we are thankful and enjoyed the time. Hope that you will stay to just sit around and talk. And I know if you don't feel like eating, that's not fun to eat in front of you. But at the same time, too, we'd love to have your company and just sit and talk to you. And if you can see your way to do that. Have you ever been lost? Have you ever been lost enough that you were willing to stop and say, hey, how do I get to such and such place? Now, I've never been that lost, but probably have really. But there are times in which we need directions, right? There are times in which we need people to say, go here, go there, go over here. In John 14, verse 6, Jesus said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. I'm the way. That's important to us. When we understand that we do need directions and we understand, I mean, let's just be honest, we understand, we're here on Sunday night singing praises to God. We understand that Jesus is the way. But when we think about Jesus being the way for us to go, we think about, well, Jesus is the way, first of all, out. John 8, verse 32, we're reminded that it's the truth that sets us free. What's the truth? Well, Jesus really is. If you keep reading in John 8, he talks about how that he that commits sin is a servant of sin. 2 verses down. And so we're reminded of the fact that if we commit sin, we're a servant of sin, and we need to be out and get out of that sin. How do we do that? And John reminds us, 1 John 3, that it's Jesus Christ. And so we need Jesus as the way because he helps us get out of that which we were in and that which we need out of, as we saw this morning. But in as much as he helps us get out, he also helps us get through life. Jesus is the way through life. How do we get through the circumstances of life? How do we get through the things that we go through? While our light afflictions are but for a moment, they do work in us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. While we look not at the things that are not seen, but the things that are seen. Why? Well, we look at the things that we can't see because they're eternal. We look at the things that we understand will last forever, but we sometimes miss the focus, and our focus is on the here and the now. And that's what we spend time. We talked last Sunday morning. We talked about I can, Philippians chapter 4. We talked about one of the things we talked about in that chapter. I can get through worry. Why? Because Jesus is my way. To get me through life. Life sometimes has its pitfalls, but it doesn't have its easy answers. And so we need that answer, and we need that hope. You think about the children of Israel walking through, or really not walking through, but living through the wilderness life. And you think about the fact that by day they had light. By night, God also provided light. God provided a way, provided guidance to get them through that wilderness. Yeah, it took them a long time. It took them a long time, really, because of their own trying to do their own way and their own thing, instead of doing what God would have them to do. But for us, we have, of course, the Father, but we have Jesus as the way that gets us through life. Jesus as the way helps us in life. John 10, verse 10, Jesus reminds us that I am come that you might have life. And we know the context there of John 10. He's talking about spiritual life. I've come that you might have spiritual life. We need that life. We need that life that Jesus gives, that eternal life that Jesus gives. And so Jesus is the way in life to give us life eternal. And then we also understand that Jesus is the way up. How are we going to get through life? How are we going to ultimately spend eternity with God without Jesus? Can't. We need his blood that he shed upon the cross of Calvary. We need his example that he set before us. We need Jesus. We need him in our life. And I don't think any of us would doubt that. I don't think any of us would debate that. I don't think any of us would say, oh no, I can make it. But if we understand, as Jesus said, that I'm the way. I'm the way to get you through life that will ultimately get you to life eternal. Man got lost in the city once, and he wanted to go, would not go here, but he wanted to go here. He wanted to go to a bar. And the bar was called Hell's Gate. So he stopped. And he asked someone, he said, hey, how do you get to Hell's Gate? And the man said, you go right down the street here, and there's a church on the corner. It's called Calvary. You go past Calvary, and you'll find Hell's Gate. You go past Calvary, you've gone too far. And you can go past, and you can go to Hell's Gate. You stay there, if you stop there, if you stop Calvary, you'll ultimately find the way to eternal life. This evening, if you need to respond to the Lord's invitation, won't you do so? While together we stand and sing.